favorite for MVP. There was no change in odds for Giannis, but the two-time MVP remains in the race for third. I'll start with you, Wendy. Who's your MVP frontrunner?
I voted for Joel Embiid in our straw poll, and the reason those odds changed is because of our straw poll. Tim Bontemps does this poll. It's one of the coolest things we do. He talks to the actual voters, not here in New York, not in Los Angeles, in all 30 markets overseas, which is the pool that the actual voters come from. The voters believe, and you can disagree with them, you can present your own case, but as of today, the voters believe that Nikola Jokic is the MVP. And the first place votes were 62 to 29. Ooh. Last time we did this poll, last time Tim did this poll, which was about maybe 6 weeks ago, Embiid was ahead. So this last month of Jokic, where he's averaged 30 points on 61% shooting and then carried the Nuggets to a bunch of wins, has apparently impressed the voters. It didn't change my vote. And you know, this always happens. If you vote for Embiid, people say, oh, you don't like Jokic. I mean, I voted for Jokic for MVP last year. I just can't find a reason to demote Embiid the way he's playing. He had another brilliant game last night. He had a brilliant game Sunday in Phoenix against one of the best defenses in the league. But I'm telling you, I can sit here and defend Embiid. You can give me your case for Giannis. Giannis is in distant third.
Understood.
The voters are not, and the vote isn't due today. The vote's due in 2 weeks. It's not a guarantee. But Vegas knows how important that straw poll is. If you didn't have your vote, if you didn't have your bet in on Jokic before that straw poll came out, you got bad price today.
Wendy, I don't have Giannis winning my MVP. I have Jokic winning my MVP. And I thought that this year has been really interesting. I actually got in an argument with Stephen A. about this because I feel like he is the most underappreciated superstar we have in the NBA. It feels like people always try to knock him because it doesn't look sexy, right? Or it doesn't have the same pizzazz that Joel Embiid have. This guy has 19 triple-doubles for the season. That's more than 19 NBA teams, Molly, combined. Let me say that again. That's more than 19 NBA teams combined. You said averaging 30 points on 61% shooting on this stretch, right? Leads the league in PER. And let me give you an analogy that puts it in perspective for everybody. So we're talking about AD not being available. We're talking about Russ being a shell of himself. LeBron having to average 50 to a degree to keep his team in contention to be in the play-in tournament. This guy's been playing without Jamal Murray. He's been playing without Michael Porter Jr. the whole season. And I'll tell you, they're in 6th right now in the West. They could end up in 4th or 5th in the West. So you talk about overachieving. You talk about the job that Michael Malone is doing. I don't hear a lot of people talk about his name being in conversation for Coach of the Year. Like, it just feels like everything about Denver doesn't get the respect nationally that is truly deserved.
I will say this, though. He is the MVP. He won the MVP, and he's leading the kid. I mean, can you be underrated if you're about to win your second straight MVP?
But I mean, you've been talking about Jokic, but I feel like on national platform shows, he's not the most highly touted topic.
We're always talking about New York, LA, all of it. But I want to know this: can Giannis catch him?
Well, see, here's my thing. I don't know if Giannis can catch Jokic, but I think Giannis can make a major case down the stretch. The only reason I say that, Wendy, is because you think about their next several games. He's a huge game tomorrow night. Platform matters. Your stage matters. So, hey, Kevin Durant and company, that's a big-time matchup that the national media pays attention to. You're coming to Brooklyn, colossal matchup. How do you perform in that game? You're playing against Boston, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. How do you perform in that game? You're playing against Dallas, Luka Doncic. How do you perform in that game? You're playing against the Clippers, who have Paul George back right now. They're in a prime position. They're one of the best coached teams in the NBA with Ty Lue. And then you follow up, you're playing against Cleveland, who is still in a great position in the Eastern Conference. So those nationally praised games, that's a platform I think Giannis can create a lot of leverage for himself.
Final word here.
I would just say that it's not a done deal. If you really look at the numbers and you listen to what Tim says about him, because he's done this for years now. Last year, he took a poll at this same time, saw Jokic ahead where he was at, and said he can't catch him. He declared Jokic was going to win at this point last year, and he was right. He is not declaring Jokic a shoe-in now because of what you said. Giannis could make a move. Maybe they get the number 1 seed in the East. Maybe Denver doesn't go and get the 4 or 5. Maybe they go backwards into the play-in.
True as well.
So it's still not firmed up. But right now, it is Embiid or Jokic, and Jokic has the lead, and it's not really that close.
All right. Two things for you guys. One, I'm excited to talk about the Nets, so sit tight because I'm going to get into NFL. And I don't have social media on my phone, but I'm told we have a tweet from Stephen A. I'm nervous. Okay, at Real J Williams in Windhorse, yes, I'm on vacation.
No, you're not.
I just want everyone to know it's always an undisclosed tropical vacation. I've been working for him for 6 years. I don't even know where the man goes. But I'm watching you on First Take, especially you, Jay. You know what comes with sitting in the seat.
You're right, Stephen A. You're right. I'm in your seat today.
By the way, to my brother Brad Turner, way to handle your business. I'm with him on that. Brad Turner, Pros Pro. And he complimented my outfit. That was nice. I appreciate that. This is
Stephen.
new.
I'm with you. You're right.
This is new, Stephen A. I'm trying. Still best dressed on the show. Not best debater. All right, you guys sit tight. Stephen A., go relax. Go to the beach. Turn off your phone.
You can't relax.
Coming up here, we're talking playoffs. NFL owners have approved an overtime rule change for the postseason. The owners approving a modified
games. Right now, they're trying to avoid a 50-loss season. 50 losses. I mean, it's insane that they're even in position to be in the play-in. They should be thanking the breaks that they're lucky to be in the play-in. I mean, there hasn't even been a team in the Western Conference make the playoffs with an under 500 record since 1997. Yeah. Normally, they would have been on vacation in Cancun for a month already.
Yeah. I would have bet you a vacation in Cancun that we were going to see the Lakers and the Nets in this year's finals. Very wrong on that.
Look, I said a month ago that I didn't think they were going to make the play-in tournament. Mm-hmm. And it seems like there is this false reality of people living in this space that are saying, whoa, when they get it all together. I'm like, if you watch this team play consistently, there is nothing in my basketball mind that makes me think they're going to actually figure it out and they're all going to come together. You're telling me now after AD missing 4 months of playing, he's going to come back and be the savior? Probably. You're telling me now LeBron James with a sore left knee and a twisted left ankle that he's going to come back and drop 50 plus? You're telling me all of a sudden Russ is going to figure it out? You're telling me all of a sudden Frank Vogel defensively, this team is average. They went from being one of the top defensive teams a year ago to being average. They're going to figure it out scheme-wise? No, they're not. The best thing to do, I'm telling you, and I know people are going to say, well, LeBron, you made this mess. You got to fight for it. Business decision, Wendy. I almost called you Greeny. Praise the Lord.
We saw
Wendy,
you on Get Up.
I just saw Greeny.
We
were just with Greeny 5 minutes ago. Shut it down. I start thinking about what's in my best interest going into year 20 of my NBA career, going into year 38. I know he's not going to shut it down, but I don't want to increase the probability of LeBron James getting hurt. I don't want to see what happened to another great Laker player in Kobe Bryant who was trying to play off an injury and then injured himself more. Not when you're fighting for a 10 spot.
Yeah, I was just going to say, but when you have AD potentially coming back, and if you
see,
get,
let me
just say LeBron back healthy, you get it all together, and you never know injuries. I'm not wishing injury ever on anyone, but you're not saying that they could get a series when we're talking about that big three. You never know. That's why I feel like
is LeBron going to come back healthy? Is he going to come back healthy? You're telling me
when has he ever really been healthy in the playoffs?
Well, that's my thing. Now he has a rolled ankle. Is AD going to come back healthy? You're telling me AD is going to come back healthy?
I mean, if you want to get LeBron into a bad mood as fast as possible, bring up minutes. He just doesn't want to hear it. He's like, you don't know what minutes do to my body. I know what minutes do to my body. I gave up talking about minutes to LeBron 5 years ago because he gave us all a lecture about how we don't know. But I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that he doesn't listen to that. That doesn't mean anything to him. I mean, just last week, he played the back-to-back in Washington and Cleveland. And Frank Vogel was saying, this is a guy should be the example for the rest of the league because he always plays. He always plays. And the thing was, 3 years ago, his first year in L.A., he did shut it down the stretch. He had that groin injury. But the difference was they had their draft pick. Ended up being really smart. They tanked at the end. They ended up, got really lucky. They ended up getting the 4th pick, and it was the key moment that got them to the title the next year because they traded it as a central piece for Anthony Davis. They don't have their pick. So, if you're looking at LeBron and AD for competitive people, I think you're right. Yeah. I think what Molly is saying is going to win the day.
And I'll just
I believe that for sure.
I'll just wrap by saying this really quick. Yesterday, I brought up the LeBron thing, and I said self-serving, maybe not the best choice of words in terms of he just passed Karl Malone, keep playing, wanting the minutes, et cetera. And JJ Redick kind of said, you can't have it both ways. You can't call out guys for load management and then be mad at LeBron for wanting to play. And that was a really good point. I had no response on that because it's true. And we do that, and we can't have it both ways. We're going to keep it going here, guys. Giannis with the block for the win. The Bucks beating the Sixers in Philly 118-116. Antetokounmpo getting the better of Joel Embiid, his competition not just in the East but for MVP. On Tuesday, Jokic overtook